All right, let's jump right into a really powerful prophecy from Isaiah chapter 13. We're going to focus specifically on verses 11 through 18 and break down the charge, the consequence, and the instrument behind the fall of an ancient superpower, Babylon. So, we kick things off with verse 11, and it gets straight to the point. Right away, it tells us the reason for the coming judgment. See, this isn't just some random act of destruction. The prophecy lays out a very specific charge against Babylon, and it's a charge that honestly feels pretty timeless.
So, what's the big sin here? What could possibly warrant a response this world altering? The text doesn't make you guess. It gets right to the heart of the problem.
What's really interesting is the specific language used. Verse 11 calls out arrogancy and haughtiness. We're not just talking about some minor bad behavior. This is about a deep-seated, systemic pride. It's the sense of being arrogantly superior that the prophecy points to as the root cause for the downfall of entire nations.
And hey, this isn't a one-off thing. This idea of pride being a nation killer, it's a theme that pops up again and again. And it kind of makes sense, right? When pride takes over, a society starts to think it's the ultimate authority. We see parallels with the haughty women of Israel back in Isaiah chapter 3, and even in the Book of Mormon with the Nephite nation. It's this timeless warning about how pride can just rot a society from the inside out.
Okay, so we've got the why. Now let's look at the what. What are the consequences? And let me tell you, this isn't just a military loss we're talking about, it's the complete unraveling of a society. Verse 12 uses this absolutely incredible imagery. I mean, to say a person will become more precious than fine gold, that's a powerful statement. And you can actually read this line in two different but equally profound ways. So on one hand, it could be talking about a physical reality. The destruction is going to be so complete, the loss of life so massive, that there will literally be very few men left. But on the other hand, it could be pointing to a spiritual cleansing, where the wicked are removed and the righteous people who are left become as rare and treasured as jewels. But you see what's cool? Both roads lead to the same idea. After this is all over, a good person will be the rarest, most valuable thing in the world. And to really drive this point home, the prophecy mentions the golden wedge of Ophir. Now, Ophir wasn't just any place. It was legendary. It was like the Fort Knox of the ancient world, famous for having the absolute best gold. So by making this comparison, the prophecy is saying that the value of human life is going to skyrocket past even the purest gold from the most famous source imaginable.
Now we jump to verse 14, and we get a snapshot of the pure chaos inside the empire. You have to remember, Babylon was a huge cosmopolitan place, full of people from all over. This verse predicts that when the invasion hits, it's going to be every man for himself. People are going to scatter in terror, trying to get back to wherever they came from.
The imagery of a chased roe is just so vivid. A roe is a type of deer or gazelle, so picture one being hunted. It's pure instinctual panic. It's a desperate flight for survival. This isn't an orderly retreat. It's just raw terror. That's the state of the people inside Babylon. And then you get this other image that perfectly illustrates the total breakdown of order. The people will be like a sheep that no man taketh up. It's a picture of a flock, scattered to the winds, with no shepherd to guide them, no one to protect them. It's just a leaderless, terrified population, totally abandoned. Okay, so now the prophecy kind of zooms in. We go from this wide shot of a society falling apart to the brutal, personal, and horrifying reality of what conquest was like in the ancient world. And the language here becomes incredibly stark. Verse 15 is chillingly direct. It makes it crystal clear. There's no escape. Anyone found inside the city, anyone who even tries to defend it, will be killed, period. Can you imagine that scene? There's no negotiation, no surrender, just total, brutal defeat. And then verse 16 describes the fate of the civilians. And this is really tough to read. It describes a level of brutality that's hard for us to even wrap our heads around. But as we're about to see, this was an all too common reality of war back then. And that's the thing. This kind of extreme violence against non-combatants is tragically a recurring theme throughout history. In the ancient world, the idea of total war was common. Conquering armies didn't just beat the enemy military, they tried to break the entire population. Civilians, homes, culture, everything was a target. This verse is a grim reminder of that reality.
Now, to give this some context, other parts of the Old Testament reflect this same brutal logic of an eye for an eye. This psalm, for instance, expresses this idea on a national scale. What you did to us will now be done to you. The prophet Nahum also points out that just as Babylon destroyed Assyria, Babylon itself would be destroyed. It was a common mindset of retaliatory justice.
So all of this raises a critical question, doesn't it? After detailing the charge of pride and the horrific consequences, the prophecy shifts from the what to the who. Who on earth is the instrument of this unstoppable destruction?
And this is where the prophecy gets incredibly specific. It actually names the exact nation that God will use to bring this judgment down on Babylon.
Verse 17 explicitly names them, the Medes. The Medes were an ancient people from east of Babylon, known for being fierce warriors. But what's really crucial here isn't just who they are, but how the prophecy describes their character.
So what makes the Medes so terrifying in this prophecy? It's their motivation. Or you could say their lack of a typical one. They are not an army looking for plunder. The prophecy says they don't care about silver or gold. Now think about what that means. It means you can't bribe them. You can't reason with them by offering treasure. They are portrayed as a pure instrument of wrath, driven only by conquest. That makes them an unstoppable force. And verse 18, our final verse, just hammers home their complete and utter ruthlessness. Their bows will strike down the young men. They'll have no pity on pregnant women, the fruit of the womb, and they won't even spare the children. It's a chilling, absolute finality to the judgment.
And that really leaves us with a final thoughts. What this explainer highlights is how this ancient text takes a universal moral lesson, a warning against the destructive nature of pride, and grounds it in a specific, brutal, and very real historical events. By naming the Medes, by detailing the horrific reality of the conquest, the prophecy makes its timeless warning feel terrifyingly immediate and powerfully relevant, even to us, thousands of years later.